mean, I've said it to him a million times, and I'm going to say it probably a million more. I'm 26 years old, and I have no idea what the fuck I want to do with my life.
And see, I'm a decade older. I have no fucking clue what I want to...
Keith, welcome to the bar.
It's crazy that we're here.
It's we talked about this for a while.
Just to give you guys kind of a little bit of an intro, this channel is going to be about moving forward, starting things, and just kind of overall life in general. We've been talking about this now for...
It's been months at this point. We've had several ideas. We've had several conversations about what we want to do. We've actually had very similar ideas, which is what sparked this whole thing. And we decided, hey, let's pull the trigger.
Why wait? There's no point in waiting, right?
Because we've had, how many conversations have we had about just businesses alone or the idea of starting a business?
Even if we just took past 6 months or so, it's 2-3 times a week, probably at least for 45 minutes to an hour. These conversations go on and on and on, and we walk away with all these great ideas, but they haven't gone anywhere. And then whatever happened these past couple, we're like, let's go. Let's do something. Let's work on things, show other people maybe how they want to do things, and kind of explore that creative side of us.
And another main reason too is every time we've had that conversation, the biggest thing for me is it gets me geeked up.
Yeah.
I get psyched, we talk about it, I go home, I'm like, we gotta do something. I gotta do something right now, let's do it. So we always talk about that. But that brings us to the point of this specific episode is execution.
Yeah.
It seems to be the hardest thing.
It's taking that first step, right?
It's that first initial, the hurdle. And I wanted to explore further, like, why do we think that is the hardest step? Is that even the hardest step?
I think so. I think I don't know if it's the fear of failure, fear of putting yourself out there, something along those lines that really, it just slows you down. And I don't know if that's programmed in us or if that's just the way that my brain's set up.
Right. And I know we always talk too about humility and humbleness. Why is that always the, like, oh, I'm so worried about what people think about me. And it's kind of weird. So humility is something that I think I've just now started to really accept more than anything else, because for some reason you have these status symbols and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know if it was, the way I was raised up, that, you don't show weakness, you don't show fear, and you just, you kind of have to learn everything before you actually do it, instead of making the learning process part of that journey. And I think the conversations between us, that's why we're here, is now we're going to just take the journey. Forget learning about everything first and all that kind of stuff. Let's just get started, hold on to that momentum, let it take us forward. And I think that all those conversations we've had is it's been just enough to push us to the point where right now we're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
We've surpassed what are people going to think about this? Are they going to think this is stupid?
Right.
Is it not going to sound good? Is the quality going to be bad? Is the content going to be stupid?
Which you can stay trapped in that forever. And that's fine, because you make all those legitimate reasons to not do it, right? And that's kind of why we're here, is to show, like, there's not actually a reason. Just grab a camera, hit the play button, and take it.
Point and shoot. Yeah. And I was telling him right before, I was trying to psych myself up again, watching YouTube videos, like what's going to work, what's not going to work. And it all kind of boiled down to just do. Why can't anyone just do? Like, what's stopping your average person from maybe they're not passionate enough about starting a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything, a job? Why can no one just do? And that's what we're trying to explore, is that little hurdle to get over it.
So, here we are, just doing. We haven't even started the channel yet, technically. This is the very first video.
Zero, we're starting.
And I think that's an important thing to know right now.
Yeah, this is absolutely, we have no idea what we're doing, but we both agreed we're jumping into it, and this is it. And we're still trying to decide what the content specifically is going to be. And I was going through some stuff, and I found out that ever since this virus all hit, I know the world's gone to shit right now, but there's two types of content exploding on YouTube, and it's either entertainment or education.
Right.
Which people are obviously lacking entertainment right now. No one can go out and blow off some steam. YouTube has actually increased with users and subscribers and download. All of that has actually increased, and it's due to everyone being at home. So we're trying to find out, what is this, an educational content,
Right.
or are we trying to entertain people? Can we even get to that line of both?
And that's probably a very difficult line to get there. But I mean, when you're talking about the content and everything going up, which is great, but then I think we get in that same situation where people are watching the videos, coming up with these awesome creative ideas, and then just immediately hitting that hurdle and skipping on to the next video.
Right.
And kind of what we're going to be here for is to take that pause, grab that idea, and actually do something with it.
We've talked about before. I mean, how many business ideas have we had where it's just like you said, let's just build a bench.
Right. And between that, I mean, we've thought of just about everything, and we have not taken one solid step towards it.
Every idea you can imagine. I've had a $1 million business all the way up to, we've both had the same idea of a board game or a card game. Literally everything in between we've talked about. And that's back to the execution.
Right.
So if you were, for anyone watching, if you had to pick, just stick to one idea, there's always that weird bridge of, okay, I want to, like, for example, you wanted to open up a pasty shop.
Right, yeah.
You can always learn how to cook a pasty. You can always buy wherever you wanted to rent the business at. But what's that bridge? Is it just
I think it's taking the leap. I think the biggest part of it is you kind of want a safety net, right? Financially, for
Right.
me, for my side of view. We all have our bills and our responsibilities, and taking that leap can be so scary that your survival instincts kick in. And I think that's kind of what it is. You're going to hold on to your paycheck rather than exploring something that, one, you're going to have a lot more passion for, so you're going to enjoy.
Right.
From that regard, you might not need to make as much money because the stuff that you're doing in your everyday life is so much more valuable than the traditional job that you held. But yeah, taking those steps and then learning that whole side is something that can be overwhelming. And
absolutely.
I think with my issue, it's, again, trying to know everything before you get started.
Right. And actually, you brought that up, because what I wanted to touch on too is the overthinking.
Yeah.
From my experience of seeing people, a lot of people who have successful businesses they're at their last, like, they had invested their last dollar, their last whatever, and boom, they blew up and they're successful.
Yeah.
So is it stupid to go into that thinking, you know what, I'm all in, and is that what creates the success? Or is it smart to overthink? And like we've talked about, just to go full circle with this podcast, we've talked about this numerous times. Was that a waste of time talking about all that, or just was it smart to get every detail down to a certain extent? Because like we've got one camera, we talked about, well, we want 2 cameras, we want to go full Joe Rogan. That's just not feasible.
Right. And when you talk about lighting and doing all that kind of stuff, so I would say it's kind of hard to say, but yeah, it was a waste of time. Right. Because it took one conversation where we were both on the same page and we're like, what's the worst that could happen? And once we got to that point,
right,
it was like, let's go. And then we had the conversation. We're sitting here, like, how many months were we talking about stuff? How many months did we kind of not do this?
And then I texted you last night, like, let's do it. Or I think, no, it was you. I'm glad you said let's do it Friday, because I wanted to, but I didn't want to push you.
Right.
But I should have pushed you to do it, but you pushed me to do it. Now we're here. We're doing it, we're filming it, and I really don't care what anyone thinks.
Exactly. And it's that biggest hurdle in being okay with being criticized, right? I mean, that, for me, that it's not a baby step forward for somebody like me. That's a fucking giant leap. I mean,
it's been in the back of my head, like, okay, if I put something online and I look stupid and I don't get to be successful doing that, and I have a job, is my future employer going to judge me by? That's terrifying to me, but we got to get past that. I think that's just the new, it's 2020. That's the new day and age of content now is online. And
I think through some of our conversations that we had, you brought up the best point. when you're talking about future jobs and all that kind of stuff, future employers, the skills that we don't have today, that we will have 2 years from now, just from starting this project, this might not work, and that's okay, but we're going to learn how to video edit. We're going to learn how to speak on camera. We're going to learn those things, and not that we know that today. But that's going to be part of the most fun of this channel, is just going to be trying things that I would not have normally tried, whether it's starting different businesses, whether it's just going out and actually doing something goofy on vacation.
Yeah. I think that's what made me be okay with people are going to say, everyone's going to say something negative about this.
Right.
And I think the whole, let's build a resume, that helped me with this. It's like, this fails, well, we've now got experience talking on camera. We have experience editing. We can take that with us forever. No one can take that away from us. And then
not that you guys would. Let me be clear. We are going to be throwing out some awesome, good stuff. Hopefully entertaining. We're going to get a little bit goofy sometimes and all that. But these are the fears that you have to deal with before doing something like this. And this is the kind of shit that will stop you from doing absolutely anything. So having that other thing to grab onto that is super positive. Building resume, learning new skills, just an overall sense of adventure.
Just bettering yourself and enjoying. And I always hear it all the time too. Everyone's like, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Right.
And I hated hearing that. It's the journey. Same with fitness. Okay, working out, it's the journey. It's never ending. But it's the journey. We need to enjoy this. And the minute I stop enjoying this, talking and filming with you, I'll probably not want to do it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it, so I don't care. And we have some crazy things planned. We're gonna be going down, and let us know if you guys want us to try anything out. If you're curious about any business, any endeavor that you want to check out, let us know, because we're gonna check it out. We're gonna go down through every avenue we can explore, just to find out what we want to like. I mean, I've said it to him a million times, and I'm gonna say it probably a million more. I'm 26 years old, and I have no idea what the fuck I want to do with my life.
And see, I'm a decade older, and I have no fucking clue what I want to. And that's kind of what has become. And you hit these little hurdles, little walls, and all that kind of stuff, where all of a sudden you blink your eyes and you're like, all right, I'm working a job and it pays my bills.
Right.
And I got a house. Holy shit! That's so awesome. And I pay my bills. And
that's
all of a sudden. That was that end of the journey, right? So you get that and you're like, hell yeah, I did it. And then you just pause and you're like, hold up, I haven't done anything yet. Like that, you think these things are all such major hurdles, and then you just start living this less meaningful life than you could. And I think that's what we're going to explore. And that if there's anybody out there listening right now that you have those hurdles, you have those same exact fears and everything, let us know about it.
I promise you, you're not alone. I told him, I said, I'm pretty sure we're not that unique, because him and I separately have had similar ideas. Like, what are the chances that we cross paths and you created a board game, I created a card game?
Right.
What are the fucking chances?
It's kind of one of those things that you have those meant to be moments that a lot of times you kind of brush by, right? Yeah. You hear those things and you just have like that was a weird coincidence, or that was a weird thing that they said to me while I was working on this. For whatever happened between our conversations, this thing grew to, hold up, I don't think this is a coincidence. I don't think that there's, some kind of set thing that I'm just going to be ignoring. So we're going to take it and explore it. And the good thing about this is we're not going to be putting this in one box, one path. So if you guys are sitting there at a hurdle or anything, let us know what it is, and we'll run right into the goddamn thing for you.
Well, we'll just talk about it, because that's another reason we wanted to film is, we talk so much, we don't write it down. We just go home, and at 4 a.m. we wake up because we're sleepless. We have a note, we write it in our phone, and it stays there forever until we bring it up and talk about it. So at some point, we had to go, let's film it.
Yeah.
Because worst case scenario, we help one person. If there's one person that's like, well, shit, I wanted to start a podcast too, go fucking do it. If that's the end of this, then cool, we help some person.
And even further than that, I don't know, if you're a local person and you just want to see what it actually looks like behind the camera, let us know. We'll invite your ass over here and you can look around and go, this is not what I thought that it was. And all of a sudden those stressful things go away and you just roll with it.
For 1 year, I had this space and I thought about doing a podcast for a whole year. I'm like, it's not going to look right. It's no Joe Rogan. There's no big table.
Yeah.
There's a fucking mirror you can see. It's a mess. And we realized that, so what? If you look at everyone's first content, everyone's first video, Gary Vaynerchuk has $1 million business, and he started reviewing wine on YouTube in 2006. It's off of like an old Samsung camera.
Right.
It's just awful. And he totally owns that. He totally, that's where you start from, humble beginnings.
Yep.
So that's what, to me, that's what this is. That's why I enjoy this so much. I like hearing myself talk. I can talk forever. And I want to explore this space in itself. This is, we created a business with a podcast. This is one of the ideas. So we're exploring every avenue. We're learning on the computer how to edit, upload, do all that shit. And we're doing it.
Yep. And I think that's the most important thing is getting ready to work. I mean, this right here that you're seeing is step one. We still have to go through, edit everything, learn how to do it, create our channel, upload. Like there's a 10,000 tangents that are coming off of this thing, but you can't do anything about that right now. This is step one. Yeah. So we're going to take that step and we're going to do it. And we'll continue to do that.
Yeah.
And you kind of see where it goes. I mean, I think that's the biggest point of this whole thing.
I think I've surpassed I'll say it again, care what people think about me, because I don't think there's one bad thing that can come from this. If we get a sponsorship from this,
right.
If ESPN hits me up and says, hey, we want you to commentate, let me know. I'm there. If Gary Vaynerchuk wants me on his show, let me know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think that nothing bad can come from this.
And that's the beautiful thing. I think this is you walk down this long hallway in life, all these doors are shut and everything. This is the first step of just peeking through some of them and seeing what happens and not being afraid to be perfect. And I think that goes with the humble is, and the learning everything before you actually get started is that strive for perfection. Guys, nothing is perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect.
Except me.
Well, right. If you have, an apartment or you're living at your parents' house and your room is absolutely perfect, you're changing that thing every single year because as soon as you get something perfect, you want to change it.
Right.
So instead of, worried about that end result, let's roll through it. Let's roll through it together and get something going.
And that's what I wanted to explore too is, does everyone have the same hurdle, be whatever business? If two other people were starting a podcast, was that their biggest hurdle was, I care what people think about me? Or was the biggest hurdle something different?
See, and I think we're completely fucked in the head, and I think that is the easiest thing that people have overcome. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's not till I really kind of accepted to ignore my faults for a little while and actually start something. So maybe it's not. Maybe you guys are already out here filming. You're like, guys, this doesn't even matter. What are you talking about? This is the easiest freaking step, but it's not for us. And there will be somebody watching this where it's not for you either. I'm letting you know. It's fucking all right, man. Just keep going through, rolling through.
We were terrified about this. We were so concerned, again, thinking about what are people going to think? What if this sucks? What if we can't talk organically? What if...
Right.
But here we are.
Yeah.
And we're going to pull back the curtain. I shot a bunch of B-roll just to show the setup because it is so god-awful. And you'll get to see that. You'll get to see every aspect of it. You don't get to see the gold standard of podcast, which is what, Joe Rogan?
Probably.
We don't have a whole facility with a gym and a spa and a sauna. We don't have that. We will, but not right now. And this is the start of that. So we're gonna just showcase that.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of one of the most important things because is being able to see that journey. That's what we're giving to you guys. That's what I want you to see is that we're absolutely nobody. I'll call us skillless. That's not necessarily true, but we don't know all the shit that we want to do. We don't know how to do those things right now.
I'm 26 years old. I don't know what the fuck I want to do with my life.
That's it. And that will continue unless you start to change it. And I think the learning experience that everyone can get out there and selfishly that I'm going to get just exploring this shit that I never would have done on my own. Otherwise, it would already be done, and I'd already have this thing going.
Right.
But I've proven at this point in my life, this shit's not happening. Not without some kind of exterior motivation. And in order to do that, I have to accept not only your critical judgment and all that, but you guys too. And I'm going to take those things into account. And instead of getting in that little shell of protection, I'm just going to go, all right, I'm going to take a couple blows and learn something and move on.
Yeah. And there was you said that, and I, for the longest time, was like, I need to be a self-made man.
Right. Yeah.
I need to do it on my own. I need to whatever, because that's the cool
it.
thing. You're the guy. You did it on your own. But I was I think it was a commencement speech that Arnold Schwarzenegger was giving, and he said, "No, I'm not a self-made man. I've had so many people help me along the way," and he's been very, very successful with the fitness industry, with the governor of California, which is insane, a man from Austria.
Right.
And he said, no, everyone helped me. My family, my friends helped me along the way. And hearing that, I was like, oh, well, shit. Like, that's awesome.
The goddamn Terminator needed help.
The Terminator needed help. Like, that's insane. And if I can be the Terminator for someone else to go out and do it, even if you surpass this podcast and your production value is better, awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's sweet.
That's what I want to see. I want to get that comment 5 years from now from somebody, one of you, that are like, wrong. we were absolutely nothing. We watched a couple of things and we just decided to get started and get rolling, and now we're kicking your ass, and we will go up and shake your hand because that's what I want to see.
Or if you want to know, if you want every exact detail of how we got to this point, which is the very beginning, it seems like, but we had so many steps before this. If you're curious what we talked about, all the conversations we had, the camera we bought, and we're still looking at equipment. If you want to know every step of the way that we've been working on, let us know, because we're 100% transparent, and that's what we want to do through the whole thing is, no matter what business we look at, let's be transparent.
Yep.
Let's help each other. The world's fucked right now. Doesn't need to be. Let's move in the future of let's help each other.
Yeah.
Fuck this self-made man shit. We don't. Come on.
That doesn't happen. Or, well, I mean, it might happen.
If it happens for you, congratulations.
Good for you.
That's awesome.
And then you could go ahead and let us know that, too.
Yeah, I wish.
Like how fucking wrong you guys were. All you had to do is actually do something.
Literally. But I think that I'm satisfied with this. I'm happy with what we've done. This was a start. We wanted to go at least 30 minutes, which we're doing. I think it's going well. We got a lot of stuff I want to explore, but I don't know if you want to keep going or continue.
I think as an introduction, now we're here, right?
We're here.
We're putting this out there. We're telling you we're going to be back. We're going to be talking about stuff. And, do all the comments, all that kind of stuff. Anything that you guys want to know. Or if you just want to call us a bunch of jackasses, that's all right too.
Tell me how pretty I am, whatever you want to do.
I mean, that's all right too. But, start, because you're here from day one. I mean, this is just as important for us getting started as it will for you. So if you have some hurdles or anything like that, come along on the journey with us, because that's what we're going to be here for, and that's what we're going to be exploring.
And that's what I like. We're going to do this weekly. We're going to try to. Well, you're going to force me.
We're going to do it.
We're going to force you.
We got you. We got you once a week. Easy, no problem.
Because we would always have these conversations, and it would get to a Friday, back when we could work and all that stuff. It would get to a Friday. Oh, end of the work week. I clocked out from my 9 to 5. I'm miserable. I'm sick. I don't want to do anything.
Yep.
But we would have that talk, and that just sparked just enough in me where I'm like, let's go. It's the weekend.
Yep.
I got all this time to myself. What can I do? And that's what I want this to be as well, is if someone's watching, they're feeling sluggish, like, I don't want to get out of bed, I'm depressed, this is miserable. We were there too, but if you have that right conversation with someone, something to say, it sparks it, boom, and then that conversation is rocket fuel for whatever conversation, whatever, even if it's going to work out. If you needed a little bit of energy, like, oh, I'm geeked up, boom, I can go hit the gym now.
Yeah. That's kind of how a lot of those things are, though, isn't it? Like, whether you're working out, reading, or anything, the first 15 minutes sucks. Then an hour later, you're like, I'm really fucking glad that I did that.
And that's exactly what we're going to say with this is, God, that sucked. We had all these notes. I haven't even touched on half of them. God, we have prepared so much.
We tried to prepare.
We tried. I know it seems like we didn't. We tried to prepare. And I think it was just, we shouldn't have overthink it. We should have
just get started. Just get started, everyone out there. Just start something. Who gives a shit what it is? Who cares if you even finish it? But getting started, you'll get those different ideas that are going to come to you. And that's what we're doing here.
I'm going to keep you accountable. You keep me. We're going to keep you accountable as well as you keep us accountable, because we need the motivation too. This isn't easy. It was like, okay, we got to pick a day. And it was easier to push and push and push. Like, well, I'll buy a camera eventually. We'll
Yep.
film. Let's just let it. No, you need to set a date. And you had said it actually. Let's just do it next. We said next Friday.
Yep.
This was what was this, a couple days ago?
And I think we both knew we were bullshitting there. I think we both had that moment of like, yeah,
Right.
give us time to, and we'll clean, right? We'll wipe this down, and it'll be so awesome, which we did do for the record. But
It's clean.
it came to the point yesterday, day before, where I'm like, why the fuck did we? No.
Why wait a week?
And then you're like, it's like you had that moment where you're like, thank fucking God you said that.
I was like, and you had texted me. I have the text that says, we're actually doing this. I'm so fucking pumped.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go. Let's do this. It was, I don't know what triggered it. I don't know if it was just the conversation we had. It was just I think it literally came down to, I texted you and I said, I'm going to film a couple different angles. We had talked a couple days ago. I said, I'm going to film a couple different angles. I texted them to you. I said, pick 2 or 3 and we'll explore from there.
Yep.
You had said, front facing on.
And then once that was the decision.
Yeah, that was the deciding.
There wasn't any other decision to be made.
There was no other. It was, we like this angle and the sound quality, because I was gonna spend $1,000 on mics and headphones.
Right, because we wanted it to be perfect.
We want that Joe Rogan gold standard.
But you forget, like, we can build to that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, those checks, they don't come in that
No,
fast.
especially now. And I wanted it to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think with the idea of what we're trying to do and accomplish, it's raw in itself. This is filmed on one camera. We're gonna wait till we have 2 cameras and get 2 separate angles.
Yeah.
No, this is gonna be perfect. This is gonna be fine. It may suck. I don't even know. If it sucks though,
It's perfect to us.
it's perfect to us.
So leave nice comments and stuff below.
Tell us about how the lighting washes out my face.
We are kind of
Because-
sitting directly under our professional lighting.
Yeah, looking at the
system.
frame, it's good. It's all good. But I think the idea in itself is raw to just get started. It's like, what do you mean just get started?
Yeah.
Literally get a camera and shoot.
And that's one of the other things we talked about is you start, once you realize you can't do it by yourself, but you still want to do it by yourself, you start exploring the successful people that started businesses. And when you actually listen to like interviews and that kind of stuff, the one comment that I hear more than anything else is I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
Or you're learning it along the way. And to somebody like me, I'm like, that's impossible, because you don't just luck into that kind of stuff. It just takes a lot of that hard work and everything. And once you hear that so many times, it's like, they have to be right, because I'm not doing it.
And it's funny you say I turned 26 like 6 months ago at this point, and I was like having a quarter life crisis. I'm like, oh God, I'm dead in my tracks. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I had started asking people, all ages, every different kind of, just everyone. I was like, if you were my age, what would you have done differently? And then the second part of that question was, it's kind of like, do you know what you're doing now? What are you doing now?
Yeah.
90% of the people said, I still have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
45, I have no idea what I'm doing. 55, I still have no idea what I'm doing. It's kind of inspiring, because like, oh, well, I got all this time. We have all this time.
Right.
We can literally do whatever we want and explore it.
Which from the traditional aspect, and granted, YouTube, podcasts, all that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
But we never grabbed onto it. We never even would have considered something like that, because it's not, you go to a job, you get a paycheck.
Yeah.
I haven't had my own business. I don't work for myself. I don't do any of those things. This is that first step that I'm taking, that literally, so I'm 35 right now. If I was 26 and doing this, I'd be like, holy shit, world of possibilities.
Right.
I'm sitting here going like, if I would have started that fucking thing 10 years ago.
I don't think that conversation is ever going to change, because I would say to myself, if I had started that 10 years ago, like, what the fuck?
It was all here. It was all here. So, learning and doing it, that just goes to show, one, it's never too late to do it. Two, all you have to do is have a little bit of energy, and most importantly, I think, is the desire to learn. And that's one thing where when you've had a bunch of jobs where every day is different, but you're still doing the same core stuff at your job. Like, you might have a couple of different like projects. Well, what I started to realize is every time one of those different projects came up where I was like, redoing, a program or something like that. That's when I was having fun. And it wasn't because it was just different and I wasn't doing my normal job. It's because I got to learn something. And taking that, I'm like, I guess that is the personality type. And maybe that is...
Is it a personality type? Do you think that's what it is? Is it's the type of person? Because I remember I used to work in trades, and I felt like I was getting more stupid working with these people. They were so content with just their sole purpose in life was to work, and I'm all for that. I don't want to knock that, but for me, I needed the stimulus of something new. Oh, this is cool. This is I can learn coding. I can learn whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, for me, I'm probably closer to the work grinder. I mean, I'm a grinder. I'm never late. I'm on time every single day. I don't take vacations. Like, that is still me today. But
that's not a bad thing.
Right. Well, this new little tangent, though, is like all of a sudden, it's like my brain can breathe again. Like, all of a sudden, like, the whole side of my brain is like, you could do anything you wanted to right now. And there's just enough momentum, just enough to fucking do it. So, and that's just it. And it's so exciting to me. And I mean, we are going to be exploring an endless amount of stuff. And we kind of had the conversation. We're two different people. Yeah. We enjoy two different things and everything. Yeah. But like, we both know the importance of one, being there for the other person and motivating them through whatever the hell it is. So that shit that you're way excited for. And I'm like, Doug, this is dumb as shit. You're gonna be like, the words are literally tough shit, get it done. And then that worker side of me is there and is like, fuck yeah, let's go.
That transitions to allowing you to, when you're up till 3 a.m. writing stupid notes in your phone because you have another business idea,
there's an outlet.
Or it's an outlet. We can talk about it. I can't tell you how it's clarity. I feel good about this. I feel like this is productive, and I'm always like, I need to be productive. Through all of this, when we've been laid off, I'm like, I need to be productive. Yeah. I need to do something. I would try to, and I get stuck in this loop of like, I'll just sleep until 1 today. I'm not doing anything. Oh, it's 2 o'clock. I guess I'll just sit on the couch, watch TV. I'm not really doing anything.
Yeah, the amount of like Netflix, YouTube, and all that shit I've watched for the past 4 months would blow your mind.
4 months ago, we canceled Netflix because we don't need it. We watched everything on Hulu, reactivated Netflix because that was insane. So we had to go over because we had so much time, needed something to do. I would much rather sit here, and someone may think this is unproductive, but to me, it's an outlet. I need these conversations weekly. I need to get this idea out of my head. Just even if it's a conversation about aliens or
like literally whatever pops into your head, having that outlet instead of like looking up like, so we take this YouTube thing and everything. You have those crazy ideas and stuff, and I'll immediately just go look it up and I'll start watching. Then I realize I'm no longer thinking about it. Like my brain shuts off and I'm just watching it.
Just doing
and it immediately kind of takes that away from, and maybe that was a way of dealing with it just so you can go to sleep at night. But you still, like, all of a sudden your brain's like, oh, I didn't get to explore that one. So we write it in our notes and all that, and like, we're going to come to it. We went through our phone notes because when you're up way late at night, you start writing it down. Shit from years ago that was never started, but it's there because, we didn't want to get rid of it. We don't want to give it up. But we weren't willing to do something.
The idea was good enough back a year ago. It was good enough to keep in your phone, but we haven't touched it since. Yeah. Like, if it was a good idea, why didn't we execute on it? Why didn't we? And it's execution. I think it's just go, just do.
And that's kind of the whole principle of this. Take something and execute. Start working on it. And you're gonna hit brain blocks. You're gonna hit all those things.
Always.
But that doesn't matter. That's part of the process. So, take it and just start working And if you're distracted like me, I mean, we have so many fucking ideas. It's insane. But just grab one, set a time frame and say, you know what? I'm going into my work rant on this. No more creative stuff. Shut that side down. We're going to get to work on this one topic or this one thing. And I think that will lead you to some crazy ass places, and that's what this channel is going to lead both of us to, and all of you too as well.
That's where I want to go. What I want this to be is, someone says, explore writing a novel. I have zero knowledge of writing. I don't even like to read that often. I'm on Reddit and that's it. I would love to have a best-selling novel because why the fuck not? What did you do with your life? What did you do when you were in quarantine? What did we do when we were in quarantine? Well, we started a podcast. That counts. Yep. Check that off the list.
And I think that's going to be the coolest part about this. And that's kind of where that interaction with you, if somebody's out there writing a book, you're a lot further forward with us, or than us, I guess I should say.
And I don't want that to discourage anyone, because that's, I think, one of the reasons every idea I've had, I've gone back to like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel. It's too saturated, I don't want to do it. Or like, oh, I want to open up a gym. It's too saturated. It's not the best market for it right now. It's always like, I'm too late to the game. But I still think that when I'm too late to the game, but it's a never ending game. So
that's my thought literally this morning. Getting up, getting ready is just the concept of living life as a game, as opposed to the way that I have been doing it. So, you know, you fire up any game you've ever played in your life, playing some Super Mario's way back in the day. You never beat anything at the first try. You learn something new with each step of the game. So
it's a great analogy.
I'm wondering why the hell I don't live my life like I do just about anything else. Like, so in doing that, so this is level 1, right? I mean,
level 1. I like thinking about it that way, because
you just plug the goddamn thing into the system, man. This is a brand new system. We don't even know the buttons.
We're still going through orientation. We have no idea. And I like that. That gives me that calming peace of like, this is awesome. Now we can literally explore any idea we want. And we mean any idea, literally write a best-selling novel, open a gym business, open a pasty business, a cooking show, make your own TV show, anything in between.
Yeah. And I think even from, like, we might sound super motivated and everything. Well, you don't see us in our everyday life who create these ideas, but like we've said, they haven't happened. So this is that first step. So if you have that idea and you're going through something and you literally just want a challenge, send the challenge to us. Write a book, beat me, do this, and we will. But we don't want to do it as kind of a non-productive thing for you. So like if you're going and writing a book and we did it first or something like that, and then immediately you stop because you're like, well, I'm not even good enough to do that. I don't want anything like that. This is all about positive, empowering everybody that's watching this channel. And then literally as a community, helping each other be successful. I would love to see, like, and granted, I don't think there's ever an entire population that can be successful. I think there's so many different barriers that are different from person to person. Right. But if we had 5% of you, 10% of you have a business, write a book, make a podcast, start a video production thing,
that'd be crazy.
Make a website, anything like that, I would be so incredibly proud, and this would be the most valuable use of my time that I could ever consider.
And I would be motivated if I found out that, some kid watched this and he wanted to be a Minecraft YouTuber, and he did it. That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
To do it, that would be so sick. I want that for you. I want to help you. I want to create that channel for you. If you wanted to do a makeup review or whatever, I would send you makeup. I want you to do. I want that to happen. I wish someone had done that for us.
Right, exactly.
I think that's why being together, it makes it so easy.
And I think that's the other thing I thought about, like, well, my friends and all this kind of stuff, and like, what are they doing? My best friends, I couldn't tell you what some of their wildest dreams and aspirations are. Yeah. And it's not because I don't know them. It's not because I don't hang out with them. It's that those topics are, just open up for judgment or something like that.
Maybe it doesn't interest them. I'm the exact same way, because everyone always says surround yourself with people that are, like now the hot topic is surround yourself with friends who are talking about investing and starting businesses. Like, you don't have to do that. That helps you, because obviously us talking to each other, it does help us pull it out of the rut. But my friends are the exact same way. They're not, I think it's just they want to do it, but there's that little bit of judgment.
Yeah. Which blows my mind, because we're here doing this and you can judge away. Yeah. And that's a huge hurdle to get over, though. I
want you to judge us, because if two average ass dudes can do something that if you suggest, hey, I bet they can't start a business, we'll prove you wrong. Yeah. Because we
want fucking clowns over here.
We want to show that you can. I think if you put your mind to it, my personal opinion is if you put your mind to it, work hard enough, you can probably achieve it. Yeah. And if you asked me that 5 years ago, I would have said no.
Yeah.
You gotta be born rich, or you gotta be what.
And that probably slows down the development process. So
Yes.
if there's any of you listening to this in your 20s and or just graduating high school or something like this, I swear to God, this is the best time to take that risk.
Literally.
Because you might not have like your family started, a house, and all these payments. Those are chains around our ankles, because we can't quit our jobs. We can't do those things, but it doesn't mean we can't provide value. It doesn't mean we can't do something that's completely crazy. And you all can do that right now too. Come with us, join us.
And I want to kind of correct myself. I said, like, the whole making money thing. I don't mean, when I say success, I don't mean rich and famous.
Yeah.
When I say success, I mean we juggled a couple things. Our podcast, even if it didn't take off in the sense of we're #1 rated, if 10 people are listening to this, that's successful to me. That helped. If I can help someone, I would be happy with my life, and I would enjoy doing that. And I think success is, my opinion, is just doing something that you love, passionate about, and you can hopefully make a living off of.
Yep. And I think that's success to me, it does revolve around money, but not rich and famous or anything. It's literally doing something I love that will pay a bill. Like right now, if I paid my cell phone bill, that my mind would literally explode. And it's kind of weird saying that, because you're like, well, don't you have bigger plans? I don't know that we have bigger plans. My plan is to learn and to develop new skills and to help as many people in that process as I can.
And help ourselves.
I don't really care what comes out of the back end of it right now, which is one of the first times I think I've ever been able to say that in my life.
Yeah, same here.
So it's that release and that freeing is like, all of a sudden, man, it's a really cool feeling, and you can you welcome that development and that growth.
Yeah, because now, like, just sitting here thinking, my mind's already running of like, what's the next episode? What can we talk about? Where's the next step? If we were to go along the business line, what's the next thing? And I'm just going. And as soon as we shut this camera off, we'll probably have another conversation that will be similar to this and jog something in our minds that makes us want to do that.
And as long as we grab that and execute with that, I mean, I'm telling you, that momentum, I believe
it's contagious.
Today,
it's contagious.
It is contagious, and it builds so fast. When you're by yourself, you can put a damper on it. That's fine. But once you put it in the world, and it's out there and it's public, whether it's talking to a friend, talking to a relative, a coworker, anything that is, that all of a sudden will start to grow. And it's kind of fun, because it gets a little bit out of control, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I better chase it, because now it's at a point where, it's there and it exists.
Yeah.
So.
And if we can, and obviously the whole, I want to make, I would wish I was a millionaire.
Sure, why not?
No, everyone wants money.
We could buy a new light. We're millionaires.
Probably a couple of cameras and a microphone too would help. But we're starting with what we got. That I probably spent way too much money on that camera as is.
Right.
We probably could have started with a phone.
Yeah.
We could probably gotten a tripod that was like $30. Hook your phone up, boom, we could have filmed that way.
But that would have been too easy. I think for our personality types, I think there has to be it has to hurt just a little bit. Buying a camera hurts, and you're like, oh God.
I remember when I bought that, I came and I said, we're all in. This is literally the tipping point of the bank account got drained on it. We kind of got to do something with this now. That was the tipping point, and that's what it took for us.
Yeah.
And I'll go, if that's what it takes for you, do it.
Don't go crazy. You don't need to go crazy.
Don't go crazy.
But I mean,
you don't need that. You just need a phone. You don't need to
buy something that works for you, and that'll do. So, and I have another camera coming in on the way, because of course you made that, and I was like, no, I can't fail Doug. And then I was like, well, then I'll put forth a little bit of and it hurt again, and it was the last generation camera and all. No new shit for me. That's not how I work. But getting that, and then all of a sudden, that I ended up telling you, I'm like, yeah, man, I ordered this thing. And the amount of excitement that came with that was, again, just the momentum moving forward. And now it's like, now I have this object that it can't collect us.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's grab that momentum and start, following through, executing with some of the things that we're talking about and holding each other accountable. And I think that's going to turn into a fucking awesome journey.
It should. And I hope when we edit this, I don't know how, we got to learn how to edit.
Gotta watch some videos first.
We have this much knowledge. Zero knowledge. I bought the camera. I didn't even know it didn't come with an SD card. Zero knowledge. We're literally baseline. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing. And I hope when I'm editing this later, it inspires me, and I hope that just goes through until next Friday when we film again. And boom, and then we can just keep that cycle going and going and going.
And the reason that we're saying no knowledge is not so you turn this off. And you're like, well, these guys don't know.
Why listen to two idiots, right?
We're doing it because we want to prove to you. That's the whole thing. We are proving to you that you're capable of more than you think.
Yes.
And so are we, because we are you. We're all the same, on the same spinning earth, doing all that same stuff. And well, we want to help and we want to show, and you can't do that if I had $100,000 in the bank and I'm like, yeah, I'm, just a broke guy doing this. It would be so unauthentic, and the passion would immediately leave, because who gives a fuck if I fail? This guy's my camera went on my credit card. Like, this is very real shit. And
I had a huge fight with my significant other about that one. I want to talk about that.
Mine doesn't know yet that I did it.
We'll cut that part out. We'll cut that part out.
But it'll come, and I'll say I don't know what happened.
It was part of the business meeting. It was just,
it's a business expense, which we don't know anything about yet. So, I mean, we're going to roll with that too. And,
when the production value increases from that camera, I think we'll both appreciate that.
Yep.
We'll get more comfortable, because this right now is foreign to me.
Yeah.
We had a conversation about talking on camera, and we were talking about, I think it was vlogging, and holding the camera here, talking to the camera is
awkward.
It's weird.
You feel like a crazy person.
I gotta get past the. It feels stupid. Like, even when you're in public, like, you see all the popular YouTubers vlogging, and like, they just do not give a shit, and I admire that.
And that's that humility. In humility and not giving a shit are so close together. Yeah. Because in order to not give a shit, you have to accept who you are and accept what you're doing is better than your embarrassment. That's humility, right? I mean, that's
by definition.
So those two things. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, whatever you're most comfortable with. But that line is so thin. So watching people do that, I'm like, God, I couldn't do that. And it's because what am I? Self-absorbed then, I guess, a little bit, because I'm so concerned with a complete stranger things.
Right, and you just said I couldn't do it, and you know what that's going to be is in the future we're going to be able to do that. That is, you now added that to the list. That is going to be something that we will polish our skills on.
That's how the conversation's going. Now I'm going to be walking around looking like a lunatic.
What are you doing? I'm filming the thing. Leave me alone. And we're going to get comfortable with that. And if you feel like you can't do anything else, if anyone feels like they can't do anything else, don't let me know, don't let him know, because we're going to force you to do that.
Right, that's true. I should have known better.
I remember I sent you the video of me trying to do it.
So wasn't it completely fucking awkward? I was watching this video of him walking around talking to me on a camera, and my first thought is, I don't know 10 fucking people in my life that would do that and not feel completely dumb.
My dogs were scratching all around. The sound was so bad, and I was just swearing the whole time. Like, I was testing the audio, testing the camera. I felt so uncomfortable. But then after I sent it, I watched it. I was like, that wasn't the first time. It wasn't that. It was awful.
It felt awful. Didn't look that bad.
It was just like, okay, I get it. And now with better skills, it can probably look better, and we can add that to the catalog of our resume of all things that we can do.
Yeah. And then what goes on to creating a video. So that's I think this is going to be a really exciting thing.
I'm pumped. I'm already feeling it.
I think this is a good place to cut off. We'll be here next week doing the same exact things. If you have some ideas or you have some hurdles to get over, start throwing them down now, because here's the wonderful thing about this. Since this is day one, you might be the only person watching this video.
Yeah.
It means you have an opportunity and a little bit of momentum to have us help you go through and do those things, because, I mean, we got nothing better to do, right? I mean,
we're all locked down. Let's do it. We're all locked down, baby. All right, I'm satisfied with that. Let's cheers with our brand safe.
That's where I get the energy from. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We will see you next week.
See you. I'm gonna leave it roll now, because that was exhilarating. That was That was more fun than riding a roller coaster. Like how
like my adrenaline's going and everything. I got
So
the amount of dopamine I got flowing through right now.
I'm riding high right now, man. That was so good, and I think for a first episode, it couldn't have gone any better.
See, it was fun, so it doesn't even matter. I mean, we're exploring those things.
Even if the battery's getting low too. We got close. I had about I would probably have like 20 minutes left on that, but that was good. There were so many notes I didn't even touch on.
Well, that's kind of one of the weird things about this.
I shouldn't have even done this. We should. I think in the future, more organically. I don't know.
At some point, we will need to like stick to a topic because essentially this topic this is our first video.
Yeah, and it was. I think we did it well because the idea was the execution of just go, and that's what we're doing.
I mean,
I think
because that's the thing is, you say that as like, oh, that was going to be our focus, but that was the conversation. That's what happened. That's
right.
Everything that kind of went into it. So
there was. I wanted to talk about ideas of like doing. I just wanted to explore little topics of how you could do it. Like if you wanted to start a YouTube channel, how could you do? What is the do? But it was all right. We did.
I think that's going to be good for.
There's another one. Is universal formula to starting them. I wanted to explore. We'll have to do that next time. Does everyone start out the same? I know obviously there's the monetary issue with it, but does everyone's like if everyone wants to start a YouTube channel, is it all the same? Get the idea, get the
camera, get going.
Because if there's a formula, no one told me, and we need to put it in a free book or whatever, and help everyone else. But that was sick. I'm happy. Now I gotta learn how to fucking edit.